It's a tiny gland deep in the brain, the midline of the brain, and we also said it's called the second eye, because the function of the pineal gland is to regulate the sleep-wake cycle, to make everything regular. Now, if the gland is not working properly, it means there is a problem. So if there is injury, the pineal gland is sick, it cannot function.
If you are watching me tonight, you are watching me live from Panda Online TV. Today we are privileged to have Dr. Orio once again. We are coming to talk about pineal gland and the benefit and the things that link with the pineal gland, things that you might notice and see that if you find those things, then you quickly go to your GP or doctor to get advice about what is happening concerning your life, because the pineal gland is linked with our whole system of sleeping and way of life and stress and all things. I would not like to take much from doctor because he is the one that is more experienced. Even though I'm a herbal doctor, this one is a professional medical doctor, and today we are having a medical doctor and a herbal doctor together to do this. And we want to help our community. This is what we can also do to support our community, because we have realized of late there are many things that are linked with our pineal gland, but we don't know. So we are happy and privileged to have Dr. Orio to continue with the series that we used to do. So Doctor, you're most welcome to Panda Online TV. Your health matters. So over to you, Doctor.
Yeah, good day to Panda Online TV viewers. Thank you, Enoch, for having me once again. Without wasting time, we are going straight to what we are here to do today. We are still on the series taking responsibility for your own health, and the topic we are discussing is still the pineal gland. This is about the third episode talking about the pineal gland. Today we are going to be looking out is with your pineal gland. What are the things you are going to experience? What are the signs for you to suspect that there is a problem with your pineal gland? First, let me refresh our mind about what we have talked about the pineal gland. And our last episode, we talked about what the pineal gland is, the function, the things it does. And we said that it's a tiny gland deep in the brain, and the midline of the brain. And we also said it's called the second eye. We said its main function is to control the sleep-wake cycle by producing the hormone called melatonin. So if you remember, we are going to be moving on from there today. Now, today we are talking about common signs that will suggest that something is wrong with the pineal gland. These signs are: 1, trouble sleeping, which you can also call insomnia, or feeling sleepy at odd times. Trouble sleeping or feeling sleepy at odd times. 2, feeling tired during the day, even after sleeping enough. You see someone that have slept enough in the night or throughout the night, and during the day you are still feeling sleepy. That may be a sign that something is wrong with the pineal gland. Another one is mood changes, like feeling down or depressed, especially in the winter period. It may be a sign. Another one is headache that don't go away. You're having severe headache that doesn't go away in a short period of time. Sometimes with pressure in your head, you feel that something is suppressing your head. Those are signs that may suggest that something is wrong with the pineal gland. Another thing to watch out for is vision problems. For example, blurred vision or double vision. This is very rare, but it is something to watch out for. Then another thing is trouble with memory. Some people may be having trouble with memory or trouble with focus. They are not able to focus to do something. It may be a pointer that something is wrong with the pineal gland. Quickly moving ahead, I want to talk about when to worry. We have listed all these things, when do you worry? When do you trouble yourself about this? I have said that all these symptoms will point to a problem with the pineal gland, but I want to quickly mention that all these symptoms have so many other causes. There are so many things that will cause all these things we have listed. It doesn't always mean that it is a problem with the pineal gland. And also note that problems with the pineal gland are very, very rare. But when you have all these signs, you may want to check it. You may want to say, is there a problem with my pineal gland? What should I do? How do I go about it? So when do you worry about all these things? If you have severe headache, vision changes, or trouble staying awake, you have to see your doctor. 1, severe headache. 2, changes in your vision. Like we mentioned, it can be blurred vision, it can be double vision, or you have trouble staying awake. You are not able to stay awake. That means you are always feeling sleepy. You have slept throughout the night, and during the day you are still having trouble staying awake. You still want to sleep. If you have these 3 combined together, please see your doctor. Now, what is your doctor going to do when you come with things like this? Basically 2 things. 1 is to scan your brain, and 2 is to do a blood test. Scanning your brain, the doctor may want to do an MRI or a CT scan. What will the doctor be looking for? The doctor may be looking for any tumor in your brain. Is there a cyst in the brain? Is there calcification? When I say your brain, what we are talking about here is the pineal gland. If you see me mention brain, just take your mind to the pineal gland. So they are doing MRI. They want to scan your brain to check for tumor. They want to see if the gland has tumor, or if there's tumor anywhere in the brain close to the gland. They want to see if there's a cyst somewhere around, or is the pineal gland calcified? Is there a collection of calcium in the pineal gland? They want to know. Then they also do a blood test to check for melatonin level. Is there enough melatonin? Is the brain or the pineal gland secreting or releasing enough melatonin? Or is it too much? Or is it less? Or there's nothing at all? These are the things your doctor will want to check out for. Remember, I mentioned just now, many of these symptoms can have other causes, but only your doctor can confirm if the pineal gland is the problem. So I would like to move ahead to how to tell if your sleep pattern are abnormal because of a pineal gland problem. How do you tell if the problem you are having, if the signs you are having is due to a problem with your pineal gland? Key signs to watch out for: difficulty falling asleep at night or waking up too early, feeling very sleepy during the day, even after a full night's sleep. I mentioned it just now. These are key signs for you to watch out for. Then another one is sleep pattern that shifts later and later each day. Sleep pattern that shifts later and later each day. What does that mean? Your sleep pattern, for example, you sleep early, maybe like 7 p.m. The next day it goes to 7:30. The next day it goes to 8 p.m. The next day it goes to 9. Your sleep pattern shifts later and later each day. If you're experiencing that, it's something to watch out for also.
So doctor, does it mean that even if you didn't have consistent sleeping time, there's a problem with it? That means that something is not working right. So it means at normal, if you are not at work or anything, your sleeping pattern need to be consistent.
Yeah, it's supposed to be consistent, though it is not like that for everybody. So many things can contribute to making it not consistent. For example, work pattern. Some people do shift pattern of work. You may be on morning shift this week, and next week you can be on late, and the other week can be on night. So your work pattern can also determine your sleep pattern. That one is basic, and that's normal. But if that is not the case, for instance, that's not the case, maybe you have a constant working pattern, and then your sleep pattern is shifting, then you have to watch out. I don't know if you get it.
Yes, I understand.
You have to watch out for it. Then another one is periods of insomnia followed by periods of normal sleep. It's something to watch out for.
Doctor, can you explain the insomnia, that big English that you said?
No. Insomnia sleep simply means the inability to sleep. You are unable to sleep, especially in the night.
That's insomnia. Oh,
yeah. Normally you are supposed to sleep in the night, but you can stay throughout the night. You are not working. You are in your house. You want to sleep. You can't find sleep. You are unable to find sleep, so you can't sleep throughout the night. It is insomnia. Okay. Yeah. So when you have periods of insomnia, but they are surrounded or they are followed by periods of normal sleep, it is something to watch out for. That's irregularity now with your sleeping pattern. It's something to watch out for, to say, okay, this may be pointing to problems with my pineal gland. Then you're also having trouble keeping a regular sleep schedule.
Okay.
You're having trouble to keep a regular sleep schedule. It's just like what we mentioned previously. Your sleep pattern is shifting and shifting and shifting. You don't have a regular schedule of sleep. You just watch out for it. Something may be wrong with the pineal gland, because the function of the pineal gland, like we said in the former episode, is to regulate the sleep-wake cycle, to make everything regular. How you sleep, how you wake during the night and during the day, that is the function. So when all these things are being distorted, it may be a pointer that there is a problem with the pineal gland.
Okay.
Now the next thing is, why do this happen? All these things we are talking about, why do they happen? For us to know why they happen, we have to be sure that we understood the previous episode. For those of us that have not watched the previous episode, I want to advise that we go back. Maybe the link will be put down in this video, so we can click it and go back to the last episode and understand what we talked about. What is the pineal gland, the location, the function, and every other thing we talked about, how we regulate our sleeps and all those things, because the knowledge of all those ones will help us to understand this, what we are talking about now, properly. So why do this happen? The pineal gland controls your sleep-wake cycle by releasing the hormone called melatonin in response to night or darkness. All this you will find in the previous episode. This is what it does. Now, if the gland is not working properly, it means there is a problem. And that problem could be due to injury, it could be due to calcification, it could be due to tumor. Any of these can cause a problem with the pineal gland, and it will not function properly. Now, it may not produce enough melatonin if there's a problem, and this can lead to disrupted sleep pattern. This disrupted sleep pattern is everything we have been talking about. Sometimes you are not able to find sleep. Sometimes you are able to sleep very well in the night, and during the day you still feel sleepy. Sometimes you are having insomnia surrounded by period of normal sleep. Any of this distortion in your sleep-wake cycle, there may be a problem with the pineal gland. Now, what to do? What do you do if you experience all this? The simple thing to do before you start running to your doctor is to keep a sleep diary for yourself. Keep it for a few weeks to track your sleep-wake time. Your sleep time and your wake time. Keep a diary for a few weeks, maybe 2, 3, 4 weeks.
Okay.
When you go to bed, record it. When you wake up, record it. Like we all know, you can only tell when you went to bed, but you cannot tell when you fell asleep. You don't know that. You can say, I went to bed at about 8 p.m. But you can be there thinking of 1 or 2 things, struggling to sleep, and eventually you sleep off. You can't tell that exact time. But keep track of when you went to bed and when you woke up. Do that for a few weeks. If you do that, doctors may use that sleep logs to be able to tell what your problem is, or that will also guide them to be able to explain to you better, or it will guide them on what investigation to do, so they can tell what the diagnosis is and what the issue is with your pineal gland. Remember, I say this again, and this is the final statement. Remember, many things can affect sleep. Pineal gland problems are very rare, but if your sleep is always irregular and nothing else can explain it, then it is worth discussing with your doctor or your healthcare provider, so that your pineal gland can be checked, scrutinized, and investigated to know if something is wrong with it. I hope I'm able to pass this message within a very short period of time. If there's any question, then I would like to elaborate on it. Thank you.
I want us to go back to what you were saying. If your pineal gland, the 3 symptoms that we were talking about, and
the key signs to watch out for.
Okay.
To be sure that this is a pineal gland issue or not. Is that what you mean?
Yes, you were referring to something about injured. So how can someone got a pineal gland get injured?
Okay, I think that's another question. So this is 2 different questions right now. The first one, you were talking about what are the things, the signs to watch out for, the 3 things to watch out for. So that I talked about that when I spoke on when to worry. When do you worry about, like, think about your pineal gland? Is it possible that the problem is coming from there? Those 3 things are if you're having severe headache with vision changes, like blurred vision or double vision, and then trouble staying awake. 3 of them. Severe headache, visual problem, and you are not able to stay awake. That means you are always feeling asleep. Even if you have slept throughout the night, during the day you still want to sleep. You are still feeling tired and sleepy. If you have that, you have headache, you have vision problem, it's a good time to worry. See your doctor.
Okay.
That's that. Then the other question is, you are asking how can the pineal gland get injured?
Injured, yes.
How can it be injured, or when can it get injured? Well, basically injuries can happen in many forms. It can happen physically, like trauma. Maybe somebody can fall and you can hit your head, like head injury. If you have head injury, sometimes people have head injury and they will bleed, internal bleeding. Sometimes people have head injury and something will go wrong with any structure in the brain, including the pineal gland. Sometimes it can be accident, road traffic accident, and there's a crash and you hit your head. But most of the time, it cannot even be any physical injury. It can be a pathology going on inside your brain. For example, there's a tumor in your brain. That tumor may not be exactly in the pineal gland or on the pineal gland. It can be somewhere in the brain close to the pineal gland. I can try to explain it. For example, let me use this. If this is the brain and this is the middle of the brain where the pineal gland is located at the midline in the middle, you can have a tumor somewhere here, somewhere around. Maybe it can even be in the medulla, it can be in the cerebrum or the cerebellum, somewhere close to the pineal gland. That tumor can be growing because tumor grows with time. As it's growing and growing and growing and enlarging, it can now get to where the pineal gland is, and it can press on the pineal gland and cause injury. So tumor can cause injury on the pineal gland, and that one is not physical trauma now. That one is a pathology in the brain. So anything can cause injury. Once there is injury on the pineal gland, it cannot function. And once it cannot function, it cannot produce the hormone melatonin. And once it cannot produce the hormone, it cannot release it. And once it cannot release it, that means you cannot fall asleep. Because the function of the pineal gland is to produce the hormone, release it to the bloodstream. Once there is darkness, it responds to darkness to release it for you to fall asleep. That's why we sleep in the night. So if there is injury, the pineal gland is sick, it cannot function. I usually like to give an example with us. As a human being, when you are sick, generally, you can't function. You can't go to work, you can't be productive. Same with your pineal gland. When it is injured, it is sick, it cannot function, cannot be productive, cannot secrete hormone. And that means you cannot fall asleep.
Yeah.
You get the explanation.
Yeah.
Then sometimes your pineal gland can also overfunction. There are some situations, there are some circumstances that will make it to overfunction. That means it is producing and releasing melatonin both in the day and in the night excessively without control. Things that can cause that is some tumor. There are some tumor you have that will make any gland to over secrete and produce hormone. So if you have some kind of tumor on the pineal gland will continue to secrete the hormone melatonin both day and night. What that means is that you sleep very well in the night, and in the daytime you still feel tired, feel sleepy, you still want to sleep because the hormone is present both in the dark and during the daytime. So all these put together are problems of the pineal gland that can cause distortion in your sleep-wake cycle, and it can affect your whole daily activity, and it can affect even your productivity. It can affect everything about you.
Wow.
As far as you driving can be a problem. If you have a tumor in your brain
and you driving, you can fall down, and you can have an accident.
Yes.
It will affect many people, even not
just you alone this time.
Yeah.
Your community is in problem or in trouble. When your pineal gland is overproducing, melatonin is always in your blood. You can be sleeping in the night, you can be sleeping in the daytime. Of course, you don't have to drive. There will be a problem. You don't have to even do if I don't operate any machine that is dangerous. Some people that work in factories where they operate machineries and all those stuff, you can enjoy yourself or you can fall asleep. So it's very, very important to know all this and know when to worry and know when to see your health specialist so you can be investigated and they know what the problem is and know what solution to give. Thank you very much.
Yeah, doctor, thank you for, even though it's a little bit short.
Yeah, that's what I want actually.
Yes, but it's very, very important because now people don't have time. So the little time that you have and the education that is more like even if it's just 5 minutes, the education that has come out is more important, and it's better to learn a little bit bit by bit so that it can get into our system.
Exactly.
But now we are in a fast-paced world that people don't have time for themselves.
Exactly.
Anyway, doctor, thank you once again for this wonderful opportunity and dedication that you have given to us. Listeners, help me and say thank you to Doctor for upon all his busy schedules, he managed to get time to come to educate us. That is what we are here for. We are here for the community. So invite your friends, call a friend and call a friend to call a friend. Let us all join and then help ourselves. And if we know certain things about our health, I think if we take responsibility of our health, it will help us. So thank you once again, Doctor.
Thank you for having me. Yeah, thanks. God bless you.